And welcome back to Career Build Series, episode 229. So here with the Rotodyne, I still have one container that I need to move, so we're going to go ahead and do it with the Rotodyne. Rotodyne's a little bit overkill. It's kind of expensive to run fuel-wise, but my tandem helicopter I'm still doing some work on, so I need to kind of get that finished up, and I decided I'd rather move this first. Let's try this. So the Rotodyne has a container carriage module here, and that will snap right on. So let's go ahead and paste that, and I'll spawn that. All right, so now this is ready to work. So having some issues with that tandem. I keep making some changes, put in new autopilot stuff. So I know this runs, so this will save me a little bit of grief. So let's go ahead and I need to figure out, remember how to run this. So master power avionics. I want port and starboard generator, port and starboard battery on. Start left, start right, start the APU. Let's go ahead and do I have a waypoint yet? I don't. Let's put a waypoint at BVG. Alright, let's set up my thing. Vehicle damage, player damage, map vehicle, 3D waypoint. Crap. It's alright, we gotta pull this vehicle again. I need a winter coat, so let's actually, let's just take this Arctic coat for now and stick it on me. I've done this a couple times, let's put it that way. I've had some issues with trying to get that tandem finished up. I tore it apart. I even named it Tearing Apart because I had to put in all the microcontrollers for the autopilot. And so that required me to do a ton of tearing apart, and so I'm having some issues, so I need to figure out what the issues are, and so one of the issues here is that I'm freezing to death, so... Alright, let's go ahead and get the Rotodyne started. So, master power, gens, bats, left, right, APU's on, beacons coming on. Alright, did I put that in there? That's in there. Let's go ahead and put the GPS coordinates in there. Alright, let's go ahead. Where's the parking brake? Release parking brake. Let's go ahead and start taxiing out. So Rotodyne's very powerful. Does this job well. It's just it's twin turbine, and so it's hungry fuel-wise. I can't remember what all my buttons do on this, but I'll figure it out soon here. So as you can see, this holds 50 passengers or 40 something. Plus it does containers. This does containers very well. As you see, it's very stable. I don't have the gyro on at all, the AP Master. So let's click that on. It's very stable. It's a great aircraft. It's just it's fuel hungry, and so I kind of want to make the tandem, and eventually I will I'll fix it. But right now I'm just gonna play with the Rotodyne. So let's get I'll just manually connect it. So let's go ahead and start dropping this down. So there goes my container carriage, and as you can see, I can see there's a hole in the center, so I just line that up. It says a good alignment system, so as you can see. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll manually align this. Let me check all my weather. Like I said, I've done this a couple times, so override times. I just want to make sure weather and time we're not overridden. Like to do some missions up here in the Arctic, so play with some different stuff too. Alright, so we're coming over the container. So you see that little hole in the center? That allows my camera to look through when it's all the way up, and it also makes it easy for me to do alignment. You can see how I can see the cross on the top of the container, and as long as I line that up, so like right now I need to move back, and it makes it pretty easy, as you can see. Really simple. And then what's my current altitude? Let's go up to 150 feet, so altitude 150. Alright, and now that's going to do that. And then this system works the old way, where if it has a larger than a 0. The Rotodyne's nice and fast too. Presently it's much better than the tandem. So this one also allows you to hard connect. I think it's F5. Yeah, it's at, whoop, nope, F5 drops. Okay, good to know. So F5 drops the container, so I definitely don't want that. I think it's F7. One of them attaches it to the belly. So I like doing these multi-functions for these modules. I have to kind of force it because I have the autopilot on. Let me try to force it on there. There we go, as you can see. Alright, so that's coming up. Let's try 7. Can't recall. So like there it is, F7 connects. So F1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so that way, you know, you can make different modules. Like I have a firefighting module and you just label them what they are. Alright, let's go ahead and fix our altitude. Let's go to 250. Alright, waypoint should be in. That's giving me a 141. So let's put that heading in 141. Alright, I do need to fix the gear on this. So let's go gear selector. I think the nose wheel gets stuck now, so I have to... Nope, nose wheel's working now. Okay, good. So that's set. And then with this, how do I do props again with this one? Don't have a seat menu. Let's start putting props forward. So this automatically goes into forward flight mode. So let's go ahead and do, what do I want? Strobes, nav lights. So let's see how far we are. We are currently going to be there in a minute. So let's see where we had 141, 141. What's our current heading? 142. Altitude, altitude, altitude. I watch that mountain there. One little mountain that's in the way. Let it come back. I don't know why it's tipped like this present. Ah, that's what it was. I had a trim set in there. I had a yaw trim in there, so it was tipping me. I have a transit on the gear. That is most likely the front. As you can see, I have no up signal, so that front wheel is getting stuck, as you can see. So I need to just, that's easy. I can just put a block in there and fix that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where's my altitude here? I'm just skimming the top of these glaciers here. I have to be careful. We're in instrument flight conditions, as you can see. Can't really see very well, so I really need to be careful. Very dangerous. We can go ahead and shut the APU off. So what are we doing? We're doing 144 knots here. I've got the prop all the way up, which is our efficiency prop, so that will save us some time here. Alright, we're going right over it. You can see as my number changes, that means we're going over it. We get a flashing light. Bring it back to vertical flight mode, rather. Let's go ahead, and I'm just going to kick the... let's go ahead. What do we have? 326. Let's go heading 326. This one doesn't do the... doesn't have a lock-in heading hold. I kind of wanted this a little bit more old school. Just add in a little bit of prop pitch to get moving back there. You know, and so logistically, you know, the only way to get out here is train lines, and so it's a short distance, so that's why, you know, I'm doing this. Let's go ahead, go down to 200 feet. Let's go to 300 on the heading. We're kind of we're moving forward as we're doing it, like 34 knots, so I have to kind of be cognizant of that and watch it. Let's go down to 100 feet. All right, and there's BVG. Let's go ahead and we'll bring the prop pitch all the way back. All right, good. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take off the. I'm going to put down the gear, take off the gyro. I'm going to manually fly it. So again, I talk about this a lot. You know, I see it almost daily now. It's like everybody ragging on the stock gyro. Stock gyro is not great. Absolutely, I will say that 100%. But it's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. A lot of it is, and for good reason, of course, because people don't have an aviation background. I do. That's one reason why it's a little bit easier for me sometimes to do some of this stuff. and some of us who do have aviation backgrounds to understand this stuff. It's complicated, and so, you know, if you make your vehicle operate properly aerodynamically, you're going to have a much easier time trying to set things up, and it makes it so the gyro's not having to do too much work. People are kind of expecting the gyro to fix every problem that they've created with their build, and it just doesn't work. You know, you're asking too much of this gyro, and so, you know, by kind of by making sure your vehicle is balanced properly. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm screwed up here. Not paying attention. Let's put that back on. By asking too much of it off the bat, you know, you're making it difficult for it. You know, you're trying to get it to do everything for you, and it can't correct all the errors in the build, which, you know, again, it's reasonable to have errors in your build if you don't have that background. But, you know, you're essentially trying to get the gyro to smooth something out. It's too much work for the gyro. It just can't do a good job of it. And so, like this, I can fly this by hand well if am paying attention. And so if you make sure each of your craft are flying well first, you'll notice you get better results out of the gyro. Let's go back up to 400 feet. All right, we're going to head back. Again, we don't want to linger too much here. You know, lingering is what's going to cost us money. You know, you notice how I'm moving pretty fast here. Drop it and go. We're just burning jet fuel, and we're burning a lot of it. And so by kind of accelerating, getting out of here quickly, we're going to go back at full speed. You know, we're up over 200 knots here. That's going to get us back there and in business. So let's watch our time to waypoint, nautical miles to waypoint. So we need to keep an eye on this. When that starts getting there, we need to start bringing our prop back. So we're doing 181 knots here. I don't know how much fuel we burned. Fuel is very low. We don't have a lot of jet fuel. So we're down to 189 gallons of fuel. And you see how much fuel we burn. Here's that mountain that's going to cause us problems. So I'm just going to gently skim that. And start bringing back here. We got to be close. So, you know, I'm actually articulating prop pitch, which, you know, bringing it back will actually... I have to pay attention here. So, 327... 327. I'm watching for my green light. As my green light comes on, that's when I'm gonna shut it off. Here's the airport, so I'm coming back on my prop. Gears coming down. If I can find it. Alright, I need to land. I'm low on fuel here, so let's go ahead and just come in for landing. I can use my bottom camera. I can also see the hangar, so I need to be very careful here. I'm low on fuel. You see, I'm not that low, but I made a mistake not checking it as well as I should have. So I'm manually flying now. So my hands are off the keyboard. The gyro's not turned on. You know, so this flies well. It's balanced properly. Like my hands are off again. I made a small input. Hands are off. That tells you, you know, that your vehicle is set up correctly, where it's going to behave itself. You know, and so because of that, I know that, you know, the gyro's not going to do too much work. It's not going to give me too much funkiness. Even the stock gyro. You know, I have a couple planes with the custom gyros on it, but a lot of times, you know, I try to fly them now without any gyro, see how well they're behaving, and if they're behaving, I would say 95% of how I'd like, I just throw a stock gyro on it, because that last 5%, the stock gyro is more than capable of doing, so. Alright, so that was a nice quick thing, you know, but this, you know, sucks down jet fuel, and jet fuel is very expensive, and so, you know, that's one of the reasons why I built the tandem, but I do love the Rotodyne. I'll bring up the Rotodyne, what did I call it? Utility Rotodyne. Utility Rotodyne is also needs some work here, so let's get that in there. Alright, so that Rotodyne's back in. Let's go ahead and load up the utility Rotodyne. or let's at least show it to you. So here's the utility Rotodyne, and so all it really does is it cuts out the back compartment, and it allows the container to sit more flush. And you know, the issue with this is the way I designed the Rotodyne, if we look at it here, I've moved most of the panels. All these panels were down on the floor, so at some point I'll work on the utility version. The issue is I've changed things in the cockpit, so I need to kind of redo that. But this is just the utility version. This is more for containers and will be modular. And then you still have a couple seats in here. You see 4 seats in there. And then you can cozy up a module to it. But all right, so that was good to get done. We got both our containers done. Let's go ahead and save this. All right, and so that was kind of it turned out a little bit of a mess of video with Proteus, with me running Proteus off the runway, but kind of got that fixed. I have my coat back on. Did a bunch of work on Proteus, like I was saying, with design. I also fixed the heating issue, so our heaters will keep us warm enough even without a coat on, so that's good. Let's try to pop a couple missions up here. We have one. Let's see what this is. What are you? You are a cargo boat has an emergency. Search the area and locate the emergency. Okay, what are you? Nearby weather stations. Okay, impact event. So let's go try to do this one here. Cargo boat emergency. Thinking Katydid probably for that. That's kind of Katydid's forte, so let's do that. Katydid has station keeping, which is nice, and something that I want, for this mission. Katydid still has a couple of autopilot things. I like to get some of these things finished up and out. But I have been working really kind of redoing a lot of my autopilot stuff, so it's like, kind of trying to get Katydid where it's up to the latest and greatest as well, so where are we at? Oh, I have to shut the door. I forgot. Door is now funky over here. I have to change this door. Come on. Where are you at there? Cockpit door. Come on, come on, come on, come on. It's annoying. Where are you at? Master power. Cockpit door. All right. All right, let's see. All right. All right. All right, so let's get this all set up for travel. All right, what's my fuel? That's important. Okay, good. Making sure I have enough fuel in here. I should. Autopilot's coming on for gyro. Let's go ahead and set the waypoint out there. So, stick that in. All right. I didn't wait for my green light, but my green light tells me I have enough RPS to operate here. Let's go ahead and let's try not to make the same mistake we did last time. Let's go up to 500 feet. I don't want to hit anything. Let's go ahead and do altitude hold. Let's go ahead and put heading bearing in there. All right, and I'll start pushing the prop forward. Do I have a heater on here? I do. Okay, heater's coming on too. I don't want the people to freeze to death when I get there. Yeah, Katydid's definitely the best for this. Rotodyne would work, but again, Rotodyne burns a hell of a lot of jet fuel. You have to have a pretty profitable mission to make it worthwhile doing that. Katydid's nice and efficient. I think Katydid has a 12-cylinder diesel in there, so it's very efficient. It's running at, where are we at here, RPM-wise? So 7, so we're talking a little over 10. That'd be 60, so it'd be 660 if it was 10. Let's see where we're at here. So we're about 4 minutes out on this one. A little bit of wobble here on the autopilot. That needs to be fixed. So again, like I said, I'm going through the autopilot on this. I'd like to get that all kind of cleaned up and then hopefully get Katydid released to everybody. Nav beacon, strobes. Okay, good. It's nice to get some missions done. I think definitely it's most fun when you can supplement some of your own gameplay. I think a lot of people have that issue where they don't, you know, they rely on the in-game missions too much, and then they, you know, don't like it that there's not enough variety. I think you can make a lot of your own variety. That's why I like to do a container mission. You know, one thought I had as well is there are some great add-ons. I'm trying to get all the terminology correct. There are some great add-ons like the like Stormlink. I would like to do Stormlink. Currently, from my understanding, is the person who made Stormlink is setting it up to work with Industrial Frontier, and that hasn't been updated yet. So what I like to do is, I'm probably not going to make it the same save as Career Build Series. What I'll probably do is give myself the money, or I might make it a different series. I'm probably going to do a different series, Captain's Airline, or Cap Air, or something like that. And the whole reason is, Stormlink, even Stormlink Lite, you know, so the Stormlink mod, it adds a lot of bases. It adds you know, like essentially airport terminals, and so they're very resource intensive, and so you can pick up a bunch of lag. You've got a lot of passengers here and there, so you get a lot of NPCs, and so Stormlink Lite doesn't have the bases, and so one of the recommended things from the author of Stormlink is that you disable things like AI aircraft and containers, and so disable some of the things that will potentially cause some lag. And so I probably will disable things like containers, natural disasters, even missions, and so that will be, the Cap Air series will be me just flying. See, like my altitude hold is not working right. Something screwed up with my autopilot. See, it's oscillating. I'm getting issues with this, so I have to fix the autopilot. You know, I get into so many other builds that this happens. All right, so I'm going to manually start pitching my nose down. Let's go ahead and put in an altitude of 100 feet. Get it to at least start trending down, hopefully. Yeah, see, like it doesn't even want to come down. Take off altitude, hold, and I'll push the nose down here. So it's almost like the clamp, it's clamped too much or something, or the p-value is too low, because like I have to push it way down to get it where I want it. All right, we're 2 minutes out. We're 3 nautical miles. So, oh, all right, that's awesome. All right, so to kind of finish up this episode, you know, I tried taking Katie to go to a mission. Katie has had some autopilot issues. You know, like with all of us, I get into an issue where I start doing another build and something doesn't get finished. So. I'm in my test world here, and I want to get Katie dressed up. I'd like to get Katie released to everybody. I've had Katie for a long time, and I redid a bunch of my autopilot stuff on some of my builds, and so I kind of need to get this. I want to kind of get this close to getting finished up. So let's go ahead in here, and so we have an autopilot issue. Let me show you what it's doing, and we will try to fix it. So, so I'll get it started up and we'll see what's up. I also want to change something. So, you know, one of the reasons why it takes me so long to get some of these things released is, yeah, I'm kind of a little bit of a perfectionist there. And as I work on other builds, like I've pretty much come up with some better autopilot, some ways of doing autopilots, or, you know, setting up my autopilot. You know, like for example, with this, if the autopilot, to save space, if the autopilot's master is on and, you have a 0 in the heading, then the heading mode is off. As soon as you put a number in here greater than 0 and the autopilot is on, it used to kick it on. Now it doesn't do it. Now because of the screen you do that. So I have some that are still in the old system, some in the new system. Started redoing these panels here and getting the hierarchy set up on Proteus, so I wanted to go back to Katydid and fix it. So let's first look at our altitude. So let's do like something like 500 feet. Okay. So if I put 500 feet in and do altitude hold, so as long as the master's on, altitude hold is in, I have a number in there. It's going to go ahead and let's see how it holds this. The issue is with forward flight. And so the forward flight section needs to be worked on. I actually started doing the mission and crashed into the ocean because the autopilot wasn't working right, and that was one of the reasons why Katie's been kind of on the back burner, is until I just had the interest or the time or the desire to do that. So we're going to watch how this should level off at 500 fine in vertical flight mode. I believe it's in horizontal flight mode I'm having the issue. And so you see we're coming up on there, and you see it's within 1 foot. So that's holding fine. No problem. If I pitch the nose down, you know, I get a little bit of deviation, but it's holding it pretty well. So the way this works is, in vertical flight mode, it's utilizing the collective on the rotors to hold it. Pretty simple. When it goes into forward flight mode, it's using the fins to do it. And so what's currently happening is, so we're within 1 foot. We have a heading hold in there. Let's go ahead and just add some prop, and let's see what it does. And so we want to watch that. Usually when we go above 60 knots is when the game kind of considers you forward flight. So see where it just jittered there above 60, that's when it kind of switches modes. So now see how it's oscillating a lot? See how it's oscillating? Up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's, now we're, you know, 70 something feet off. So that's the issue that I'm having with Katie. So I need to fix that. All right, so now it's trying to descend us back down to 500 feet. Let's see how it does. So see, it's accepting like 16-foot deviation. All right, now let's like throw some wind at it. See how it's oscillating more now. And it's 40 feet off. All right, so that's what I'm going to work on. So we get, you notice, see the oscillation? It's pitch, 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 pitch. That's probably too high of a p-value. And we're pretty much controlling only by this tail fin now. So it essentially changes it into an airplane. So let's go ahead and we'll kill this wind. And we'll drag it back to workbench and we'll work on that. So first thing I'm going to do is check electricity, check the fin, make sure the fin's working properly. All right, the fin is right here. The fin connects into right here, which is the AP pass-through, pitch fin. Electricity, fin, 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 fin. Where do you go? You now go to control fin. That's a little pitch fin. Yep, we have pitch fins in the nose here. So where is it? I just lost it. I'm trying to track down all the electricity. Fin. So this might not be hooked to electricity is kind of what I'm thinking. That literally could be that simple. That, you know, that would make sense because it was working before and then I did something and screwed it up. All right, there it goes there, to this back fin, to the front fin. This isn't connected to electricity, so that's what it is. Pretty simple to figure out there, but it was something that has been dogging me, and again, I get so distracted by other builds I don't do it. So what's this? That's where's batteries? So I segregate so I use a relay for my master power. So my hot bus, what a hot bus is, let me see if I can find you an electrical bus. Electrical bus bars. Let me see if I can find a nice image of an electrical bus bar. Okay, so here's a good one. So if we look at this, hopefully it doesn't bring me to a weird friggin' website. Let's just try to get the image here. All right, so here's a dual row bus bar. And so what this bus bar does is it's pretty simple. And so if you notice on one side it has this piece of metal. And on the other side is this piece of metal. And so let's say you want to put something on a circuit, all right? So you need a hot and you need a common on there. So what you would do is you'd take your hot wire and you'd hook it here. You'd take your common, you'd hook it here, all right? And then what you would do is you'd have all your systems that are on that system, all your different wires that connect to that system there. So you put all your hots. So let's say I was doing my control fin bus. I would put my hot here, I'd put my common there, I would put my roll fins here and here. For the hot and the common, I would put my pitch fin here and here. I would put my yaw fin here and here. and that would set up my bus. So when I'm talking about a hot bus, that's what this is. Now, what is the difference between a hot bus and a cold bus, or a master, or the master bus is what I'm essentially running. So when we talk about in game, we have a relay. So if I look at my batteries, I have my batteries here, and you notice my batteries are just hooked in. Are they hooked in series correctly? This is the backup battery there. So these are my mains. This is the backup battery. So I have my main batteries here. You notice they're hooked in series, so one goes on the next, and then they go up and they go to the hot bus. So what the hot bus is it's hot. It's always powered. And so things like my electric doors, I need to be always powered, because if they're not always powered, then I need to turn on power in order to open a door. I don't want that. I want to always be able to open a door, because in real life you don't need the electricity to open your door. You just pull it open manually. Then you have the master side. And so this side only gets power, so the batteries come up here. And then all these other nodes are things that need to be powered by the hot bus. So mostly doors, things like lights. Like you can go in your car and turn the lights even when the power's off. That's on the hot bus. Then you have your master bus over here. So most of my systems are on this. So until I press my master power switch, the battery power does not connect to any of these systems. So that's my hot bus. So just figured I'd tell you that. So these fins here, again, they connect there, they connect there, they connect up to here, and then they're misbehaving. All right, and so what I need to do is these, it is connected to electricity. Crap. All right, so that's connected to electricity. Let me double check, make sure I didn't just screw that up and that it was actually disconnected. Okay, it is connected to electricity, so I am getting electricity to those. Let's try to do something here. All right, so that's happening. Let me check my pitch fin. So this, I did break this at some point. Let me see what's up with this. So right here is my AP pass-through. So here's my pitch fin. Let's look at this AP pass-through box. So apparently it is connected to the master side right there. So this is the master side. It is connected. So that would have been super simple if it was just electricity, but it's not. So I have to now try to figure it out. So here's AP pass-through. And so the pass-through, all it's doing is allowing me to take a composite signal. And because I have space constraints on Katydid, I'm getting a composite signal from the autopilot panel, and then I can move it out to other panels. So let's go in there. So we have the autopilot monitor to AP panel. Then we have from the autopilot panel, so we have one is the gyro, one is the pitch fin. So I need to see what this is, make sure this is correct, because our pitch fin's what's having problems. And so I ran out of space on the autopilot panel, most likely, to run the pitch fin, so that's why it's going through this panel. So let's double check that. Let's look at the, again, a lot of this is a space constraint. That's why big vehicles are often easier, is you don't have to do all the chicanery. So let's see, collective, roll, yaw fin, pitch. The other thought is I could go back to running pitch off that. So what this should be running is, this should be running a gyro pitch, but I have to check it. So let me look. I'm just looking through, checking all my nodes here. It's tough because, I have stacked panels. Again, that's the issue with having a small, panel. So here's my pitch. My pitch goes into my gyro. And then I have my stabilized pitch. And that is going up to my rotor. And where is this receiving signal? All right, so this looks like it does not have any gyro. So it's going from pitch there. I probably don't, this is when I started having problems when I ran through the AP pass-through. Let's check this. I think I see what the issue is already. It's not being smoothed. All right, so where are we at here? Pitch is right here. And then I need to find AP pass-through. My outbound. All right. And I'm aware there are thousands of ways to do this, but this is how I'm doing it here. So this is this roll. I need to find where my AP pass-through is coming. So here's the pass-through right there. Let's make sure that's what's connecting it. So right here is 1. This is the signal it's reading. What is this reading to me here? That is running 2. 2 is pitch. So this is running raw pitch. So it's running raw to here. So this is running the autopilot's pitch here. That's running. So it's essentially, what's this? Why is that? Okay, so what this is what changes. So this right here is for collective. So this is essentially collective, and then it switches over to this system here when we go over speed. And so this is sending either my controls of pitch, so I can override it, and it's adding it to the PID to there. Let me see what 5 meters per second is. So let's do 5 times 60, 300 meters per second. Let's see, meters to feet. You know, I do everything in feet for aviation, so it's, you know, because I can conceptualize what. So that's about 1,000 feet per minute. So that's pretty good. So that's fine. This number looks tiny to me. So that comes out here. That is getting added there, and it's coming down here as channel 1. Okay, and then so channel 1 is coming through the pass-through. All right, so this should be pass-through here up to that panel. So where are we at here? So it should be this one here. Pass-through comes up here to from AP pass-through. We then read this. And so that's going to read channel 1. That's correct. And then it goes to the pitch fin. It's not being gyroed is part of the issue, I find. So let's see. Gyro, AP pass-through, gyro. So there's a couple things we could do. So this is raw off of that. All right, so let's do something here. Let's look at this autopilot panel. Let's try to see if we can't fix this with the p-value. So let's go back in here. You know, again, I try to, you know, this gets converted to airplanes and helicopters and everything else. So it has multi-systems here. So all of my collective doesn't go through vertical speed because I don't need it to. I do need my actual airplane mode to go through vertical speed to set max vertical speed, essentially. So this p-value is likely to be a huge culprit here. I don't have an I and a D, which is minimal. I can add those in, but that's not the problem. It's got to be this p-value here. So let's see if I have a free slot, which of course I don't. That's part of the issue here. Collective. So I'm just kind of going through and finding this. So this is one of the issues here is that it's just hurting for space. So this is getting cut. This is why it's kind of all set up like this is space constraints. And why I've been putting it off is it just takes me some time to get at it. So that now lives outside. And let's see if I can't swallow the panel enough to do this. So let's go ahead and add a p-value. So number input, p-value, pitch. All right, fin. All right, and so kind of my new way of doing this is where I need to find where this is. So see how there's a gobbledygook mess, and now I'm trying to find where that node that I just made is. So I'll kind of show you my new method, which I think works well. I'd recommend it. So see how I'm hunting and trying to find the sucker? It's kind of a pain. So once I find it, I'll show you what I've been doing. Okay, I think, is this it? No, that's not it. Where are you? So like, see, I'm hunting, trying to find this sucker, and it's a mess. I'll show you what I've been doing once I can find it. Because this, I used to spend too much time doing this. My new builds, I do something different, and it saves. So essentially, I make a property name that tells me where they spawn, and I don't put anything there. And so they spawn kind of in the open. All right, so let's do this. Let's go back here. Let's delete this one. Let's go back in here. Let's grab everything here. And let's move it over. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Do what I'm asking. And we'll move everything over here to the left. And then let's go back here and add p-value pitch. P pitch fin. So I'm thinking that number is way too small. Now it's right here. Okay, so now I know where these appear. All right, so we're going to go in here, and instead of this 0.06, I'm going to make a value. And so I know 0.06 is my initial value that it was. That's certainly not working for me. All right, next I need a keypad. All right, keypad's coming in. All right, let's electrify that. All right, and then this gets connected to that node P pitch fin. All right, so we're going to do our test now. So it's definitely, I'm thinking it's an issue with the p-value. This dog is annoying. Always pants at me. So 0.06 was my original number. He's going to get killed by my propeller if he's not careful. That dog has died many times, me just trying to bring him through doors. Get him out of here. It's been dumped off in the ocean. Inadvertently. Alright, so let's try to do kind of the same. So I want altitude of 500 feet. 165. Okay. Heading, hold, altitude. Let's not go to 5. Let's go 350 just to not make it take forever. Alright, and let's actually go to the east. If we go over the water, we don't have to worry about having to go up to a high enough altitude to not hit mountains. Alright, so let's start adding in prop pitch. So as soon as it goes over 60 knots, you'll notice it does a little bit of a jitter. That's kind of a game mechanic of it switching over to horizontal flight. There we go. See it rocking and rolling there. Alright, so now you see it's doing its wobble. Let's make this a 1. Alright, so it has, part of the problem is it's not going through the gyro at all, which is giving it issues. Alright, so let's try something here. So that's one of the reasons it was 0.06, so let's do 0.01. And so now the p-value is probably so small, which it is, that you notice it will never catch up. So that's one way you could try to fix it. And so I think the way I'm going to ultimately fix it, so I'm trying to remember back when I made that change, and that was when I put in the, I hate it when it does that, the pass-through panel. And so let's do it a different way. Again, you know, people will constantly tell me, they'll be like, oh, you know, just do it this way. There are 100 ways to do everything, and, you know, as long as it works, it works. So let's try this really quick. Let's go ahead to, that's not going to work if I do it like that. Let's see. All right, so essentially I need to feed in through the gyro to get this to work, right? So that's there. All right, so let's do it a different way. So right now, this comes through down to AP pass-through. I don't want that. Let's see. I want this method here. I want it to add that station keeping there. So station keeping shouldn't go off there. I'm going to have it do alternate track to pitch is essentially what I want to do. So here we're going to go like this. This is going to go pitch to here. This will go like that. That's fine. And then this here will go... Let me see, what are you? Okay, so this right here is actually where I used to do it, is here. Because I changed up. So this is right here. This is that mode. This is, okay, right here's where I used to do it. All right. So this is actually where I used to connect this. And so let's do this. So instead of doing all this chicanery, let's try this. Let's take this and put it here. And that should be set up already for it, I think. So let's go ahead and go like that. And we should be able to cut that out. Let's try this now. And I should be able to hard connect the fin in there. All right, let's try this. So now instead, where my pitch here goes to the gyro, which then goes to the collective, let's hook this from here to the fin. Now let's see if that works for me. This might do it just like that. So, again, when I put that panel in there initially, it wasn't. Let me check this. I actually still want that keypad. I want to be able to manipulate the p-value. It could be two things, so I need to put in the 0.06 value to see if this fixes it. So 0.06, and then I can manipulate that. Let's see. Okay, power engine, gyro, cockpit door, fly on out of here. So this should, I think, probably fix it. This is likely to do it. This is going back to the old system. I hate it when you have something working and then you change something, you have to go back, fix it. All right, so I have no pitch control, so that's no good. All right. All right, let's see what I did. All right, so this should have. So this is my manual control. This goes here. My manual control should not be screwed up here. Because that's adding it right here. Okay, this screwed it up here. That's what screwed it up. Okay. All right, let's try it now. So put the 0.06 back in the keypad. All right, let's get us out of here. All right, hey, pitch back. Oh, because I was going to do it two different ways, and I forgot to fix it. All right, so let's go ahead and let's kick on heading hold, altitude hold. Let's double check and verify. I'm just going to go to 200 feet. That way I'm not taking so long. We'll make sure that this mode works. This is 0.06, back to where it was. Okay, so it's holding it in 1 foot. Lovely. Let's go ahead and start adding prop in, see if this works better. Over 60 knots, you should notice we get a kind of a flick. There we go. Alright, so it's still climbing, which I don't want. So let's go ahead and increase this number to, let's do 0.1. So there we go. That's starting to send us back. Let's see if it holds us. Alright, so see it's hanging around 214. It's still out of spec, so let's go to so it's not bad. It's within 9 feet. I'm not thrilled with it though still, so let's go. So you see it's getting an oscillation thing. That's the gyro freaking out. I have a bunch of nonsense going on. Oh, come on. I have a bunch of nonsense going on back here, so stand by. Okay, so the allowance is not terrible on this. I was correcting it by too much at once as well. See, my harnesses were flicking around. That was not helping. I was throwing the gyro off because of those flicking around. So there we get another foot back. I'm just going to take my time and get this dialed in. P and, you know, the D and the I values can go in as well, but again, if I can get this pretty close with the P value, then those don't have to do much, and it makes it much easier to fix it. All right, that starts to unsettle it. You know, put it back to 0.1, it smooths very nicely. It's just 15 feet off. All right, so that's not bad. That's certainly tolerable. Let's go ahead and give it some changes here. So let's go ahead and go to 300 feet. All right, so that's fine. You see, it's a consistent 14 feet off, which is probably, you know, the way I'm converting to feet. All right, let's go to 1,000 feet. So that's a much bigger change. It's 3 times, you know, where it was sitting essentially. See how it, you know, that's one of the reasons I have the vertical speed in. I double pit it. It's so that it sets a max vertical speed. It sets essentially a vertical speed target, which is how you do it in real life. You set a vertical speed that you want. You know, we'd set our altitude, then we pick a vertical speed we want to climb at. All right, so it's holding with 14. That's not a p-value issue. If that 15, 14 number is constantly coming up, that's just an altitude deviation. That's fine. So we're working now. 0.1 is my new number. Let's try 0.06. I had that in there for a reason. Let's see. See, 0.06 is too little. You notice how it's giving me altitude deviation now. So 0.1 seems to be my number. It's working very well. Here it's going to come back down. It's going to hold. Right there on the money. So it's a 14, 15 foot altitude deviation. So that's fine. So that's working now. All right. How's my roll looking? I'm a little bit cockeyed. Rather if I wasn't. Let's see. That's something when you go in a horizontal flight mode as well. It likes to do that. Okay. So let's grab this really quick. And we'll finish up here. So that was something I've been wanting to do on Katydid for a while, is fix this. So what do I actually need off this autopilot pass-through is the question. So let's not get derailed here. Let's get this done. So that's actually how I used to do it, and it worked. That's why this was still there. That's why I tend not to delete stuff off until I know, because it was very easy for me to, you know, it's hard for me to remember exactly how I had it set up before. But going back, it's now I can see where my code was or what I had left in here for logic and just go back to it. So that's kind of why I leave some of that stuff in there, is to make it a little bit easier. All right. So that's my vertical speed component. Sets my vertical speed for how fast I want to climb. All right, so that's set in. So that's working much better now. Let's see if I can get rid of that AP pass-through. I don't think so. I think I put it in because I just ran out of space here, and again, I needed something. Let me check what's in here now. So, all right, so what are you doing for work for me here, guy? You're passing through AP monitor touch. Let's see if I need that. I probably don't. This is what's turning on the gyro, the hold gyro. And this is also passing bearing information through. Let me see what this is actually doing, because it might be redundant now. The gyro it needs, pitch fin's gone. So it's taking AP pass through and it's passing it back to itself, and it's also going there. So this should be able to, let me see what's going on here. So this goes, is going from AP panel to right to the bearing panel. So I can cut out the middleman there. So that's pass through to bearing. Okay, cut out the middleman on that one. What else are you taking? You're taking that, and then you're also taking the monitor in. Okay, it's adding, is it adding monitor? It is, that's what it's doing. Because my monitor is going, it has to be added to do functions. That's why it's doing that. Okay, that makes sense now. So this was put in when I added the monitor because I need to add the inputs from the monitor. So all the autopilot information comes in here. It adds it up with the monitor information, and then it sends it where it needs to go. So that's the whole purpose of that. All right, so kind of figured out what I'm doing with that. So that works better now. We now have a working pitch for the autopilot. So let's go ahead and I'll shrink this up and we'll end it there. Good to get Katydid a little bit flying better. Step closer to release. I'd like to get Katydid out. All right. I haven't released much lately. These builds have been taking me a bunch of time to get. I keep moving on to new builds. That's kind of what I like to do, and so that's an issue. Let's go ahead and save this. Okay, Katydid AP work. Let's see, what's the date? All right, so put the date on there. Let's make more saves. All right, so Katydid is working better now. I'm putting that off for a while and finally got to it. So I will see you guys in the next one.